So it seems that AEW, after last night, after, what was it, Beach Break? Well, obviously, Beach Break's this whole week, last night, Rampage tomorrow, and then Collision Saturday. But it seems that they might have gotten back on as some people would say, the right track, or at least took the first steps on getting there, especially as they go into All In Wembley at the end of next month. But the question is, can they keep it? Can they keep that momentum going? And honestly, right now, if they keep the right pieces of the puzzle, that they need, if they keep the right pieces of the puzzle, right where they need to be, then I think yes, I think you are definitely, back on the right track, or at least on the right path to, make All In, one of your best pay-per-views of the year. Not just from an in-ring standpoint, but from a story standpoint. Now, here's the thing. Okay? When it comes to story, especially with AEW, they are very questionable, with their approach. Because nobody knows whether or not they're going to keep things on track, whether or not they're going to be able to, keep this, keep the focus that they need on what needs to be done. Because some will say that when it comes to MJF's heel turn last night, some have said that essentially kills any opportunity for him and Adam Cole to resume the feud. And yeah, that might have been, that might be a situation that needs to be reevaluated. Like I was saying, they seem to have things on the right track, but the reputation when it comes to stories and keeping focus on what needs to be, it's still, iffy. I mean, they are taking the right steps to, build to All In Wembley, and give us the best stories and wrestling to go along with the stories possible. But it's going to be up to them to reach that finish line, as we get closer and closer. They got literally a month and a half, believe it or not. They got a month and a half. I mean, the event basically takes place a month away from my birthday, basically on August 25th. It takes place on my mom's birthday, for goodness sake. But, they still have plenty of time. What they need to do is focus and everything on what needs to be done. Now, again, as I was alluding to, what the MJF heel turn does when it comes to Adam Cole, that's interesting. They're going to have to evaluate that situation and address that. My thought process is, if you're going to make MJF a heel, we don't know if it's going to be for long term. Like I was saying, they need to, reevaluate exactly where they're going to put Adam Cole and everything in this whole Undisputed Kingdom. And my thought process was, well, if you're going to keep MJF heel for the long term, then you need to basically turn Adam Cole and the Undisputed Kingdom face. And the reason I would say that is because, you need to basically balance out that, that good guy, bad guy situation. And Adam Cole, he can be a natural babyface. He's proven that. But, when it comes to the Undisputed Kingdom, you can say, well, how would they work as babyfaces? Well, the answer is real simple. The Elite. Because come Blood and Guts, Team AEW, even if they win, are not going to, are not going to do so without consequences heading their way. I mean, they're already teasing that as we speak. They're already teasing that as we speak and everything. So, it feels like you need a group, you need a faction, and the Don Callis family is not going to be that faction. You need somebody else. You need an established group. And what better group that's kind of established, that could easily, well, I wouldn't say easily, but kind of get the fans on their side against the Elite than the Undisputed Kingdom. Because remember, everybody's been wanting to see the Undisputed, or at least some variation of it, against the Elite. What better opportunity than what you have right now? That's the way I look at it. So right now, I will say they're on track to, if they keep things focused on the stories they need to keep them focused on, they are on track of making All In one of the best shows they've had in a long time, pay-per-view wise. Not just from an in-ring wrestling standpoint, but from a story standpoint that goes along with the wrestling. I mean, now you even have Mercedes Moné and Britt Baker, on a collision course for All In when it comes to the TBS title, more than likely. And, you definitely have a lot of real-life, personal animosity between them. And you're playing off the fact that, hey, Mercedes has an alliance possibly with the Elite, maybe become part of the Elite, and that could, storyline-wise be, used in her favor to try to screw over Britt in the women's division. I mean, you have all the necessary seeds planted for this story arc to be good, to not just have a great, match at All In, but then also, if you want to continue it, a great match for, Full Gear. Not Wrestle Dream, well, maybe Wrestle Dream, but you have the ingredients for a 3-match structure between these two. All In, Wrestle Dream, and Full Gear. And maybe if you want to hold off on one of those, World's End. So you have the structure needed, the 3-match structure needed between them to make this happen. You start it All In, you hold off, you go to Full Gear, you go to Wrestle Dream or Full Gear with it next, and then after that you go to World's End, and you're good to go. You're good to go. And what you can do is you could build to the fact that the entire women's division in AEW, not just the OG women of AEW, but even the stars that have come from elsewhere, from WWE, from TNA, from Japan, you can have them, align themselves with Britt. You can have heels and face align alongside Britt against Mercedes and whoever she gets to align with her. And everybody's saying, well, what can Mercedes do to really make herself be a cowardly heel? Self-absorbed, egotistical, cowardly heel. Well, everybody was saying Camille is signed with AEW, but we have not seen her. This is the best opportunity to bring her in. This is the best opportunity to bring her in. And the things they can do with this feud, too, can, to make it very real and very personal, not just with Britt and Mercedes, but Britt, and the entire AEW women's locker room against Mercedes. The way you can make it real is you can tap in. If they do things right, they play the cards right, you can have them tap in to to Mercedes' contract status, because everybody knows about it now. She spoke about it, herself, and saying what's in her contract, saying she has creative control and everything. You can really utilize that, in the storyline, to where you can have Britt, call Mercedes out, and say that you're nothing more than a cowardly bitch who has to have creative control some kind of, power and control put into a contract because she doesn't want to, she's afraid to do the job on her own. So you have, like I said, you have the right ingredients. You have the right ingredients to make this work. And I think in the long run, if they play the cards right, like I said earlier, it should work. It should really work. But we'll have to see. But right now, it seems that AEW is on the right track. They have taken the first few steps to getting back on the right track. It's up to them and Tony Khan and his team to keep them on that right track, on that right path. Because if they slip up next week, if next week pales in comparison to this, and next week turns out to be a shit show, then yeah, it's going to raise a lot of questions when it comes to exactly what, AEW's future is going to be leading into All In, especially with the TV rights deals. And I want you to notice that too. Every time we hear that AEW, it sounds like they're on the verge of getting, a new rights deal, all of a sudden their television's better. Everything is the way it should be. So I'm wondering if Tony Khan every time you hear some kind of good news that, hey, he's getting this close to getting that TV rights deal he wants, which includes maybe a max streaming deal as part of it, I wonder if that's why he starts making better television, because he wants to show, hey, it is worth your money to keep us here and give us that max deal as well. You have to wonder if maybe that's why he does this, because when he doesn't get any information or any, further news, that's maybe when he starts to slide. But we'll have to see. But again, whether or not that's the case, Ace, or it isn't for what Dynamite was last night, all I can say is this. In closing, they need to keep the foot on the pedal, and they need to keep going in the right path. Because if they slightly turn and pivot this way or that way, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good, because if they have a show next week, like I said, that pales in comparison to this one, that basically looks weak in comparison, then again, it's going to bring up a lot of questions about the future, especially heading into All In. But let me know what your thoughts are. Comment down below, live chat during the premiere, like the video, and until then, also check out my Teespring store. Link is in the description, as well as links to other places you can find my content as well. But let me know what your thoughts are, and I am out.